A very good morning to Sir Nazri bin Zakaria and fellow friends. So welcome to the virtual forum and thank you very much for listening this. So we know that during this pandemic, there is so obvious many challenges for every employee. So before start, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am ENNLY PONJI as a moderator for this forum, accompanied by NARAYANAN. So today, I would like to welcome SYAHIRAH binti RIDUAN APINDI and FATIN NAJIHAH binti ZOLKAFLI as a human resource department, while SASHITHARAN RAJAMANI and INTAN SYUHADA as employee with the talent company. So this pandemic, we know, COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on jobs around the world. So almost every country has experienced an economic downturn. So, and as business struggle to steady the ship and stay afloat. So many employers have been doing the best to retain their employees where possible. So it has been a very busy in 2020. So for employment lawyers and human resource professionals. So this issue actually so relate, whereas the topic is about retrenchment and layoff related to labor law in Malaysia. So I give to Catherine.
Before we start our forum today, I'm so glad to welcome the speakers to the forum. Hello everyone. Today our topic is the company and the organization often terminate their relationship with the employee as a part of the business exercise. Such a termination is different from the voluntary termination that usually done in the cases of unsatisfactory services from the employee. Termination that is not a direct result of a worker's action within the organization is called involuntary terminations. Involuntary terminations are routine produced in the company. Involuntary termination can be further divided by two broad categories, namely layoff and detachment. First of all, I'm going to ask the first question to the panel of today, SYAHIRAH from Human Resources Management Department, regarding for our what is the retrenchment labor law?
Hi, my name is NORHISHAM. To have a talk with you guys. I am from Human Resources Department and I have been working in the talent company for past 3 years. From my experience, in working in HR department, I was facing a variety of good and bad output that occur in this company. Okay, according to labor law in Malaysia, retrenchment can be defined as the discharge of surplus labor or staff by the employee for any reasons whatsoever, otherwise than as a punishment inflicted by way of disciplinary action. However, in doing so, the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony, an agreement between the Ministry of Human Resources with the Malaysian Council of Employers Organization, they have said that the employer must set out well-documented objective criteria for the selection of employees who is going to be retrenched. Thank you.
What we hear again with the SYAHIRAH explanation, so that is about retrenchment means the discharge of surplus labor or staff by the employer for any reason whatever, otherwise than as a punishment by way of disciplinary action. So thank you, SYAHIRAH, for your explanation. So I want to ask question to Human Resource Department. So how about layoff related to labor law in Malaysia?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. Hi everyone, my name is FATIN NAJIHAH binti ZOLKAFLI and I'm from the talents company. So here are the reasons that cause layoff is related to labor law in Malaysia. The reason is because of a shortage of raw materials, economic recession, breakdown of machinery, and accumulation of stock. As we know, layoff is the failure, refusal, or inability of an employer. Layoffs also are a method of dealing with a manager's temporary inability to hire a worker to keep the business running. It causes instant unemployment, however, it is only temporarily. It should not eliminate the employment agreement between the employers and employees, but it does change the term of employment. Furthermore, layoffs only occur in businesses that are still in operation when an industrial firm closes temporarily or the owner declares a lockout. The issue of layoff becomes irrelevant if a layoff complies with the conditions specified in Section 2 of dispute at is it justifiable. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatin. As you say that layoff is, which is the company is not resign the workers from the work, which is they are giving the they giving the time to them to hold on their works. So thank you for your explanations. Retrenchment is another form of termination which is not depend on the actions of the employee. Retrenchment, however, is non-involuntary, which means can once they terminate the employee, they will never back to the company. Okay. Now I'm going to ask this question from one of the employee, Mr. SASHITHARAN. Can I know how does the retrenchment law affect the labor?
So hi everyone, my name is SYAHIRAH, I like RAJAMANI, and thank you Mr. Kadiration for your question. So I am working as a machine operator at the talent company for past 4 years. So now I will be like giving an opinion from my side the effect of retrenchment to the labor. So first of all, the labor will be lost their current job. That's the first thing. So the labor will lost their current job, and that will lead them to financial aid. So they will push to a financial statement that will be like situation that they have no money and they have to support their family also. Then they will be pushed to a situation where they will be like mentally pressured. So during this pandemic, I mean COVID-19 pandemic, it is very hard to find a new job after quitting the current job. It is very hard to find a new job because the situation now, I mean the whole world are facing the recession, and of course Malaysia also facing a lot of recession, and due to that a lot of companies are shutting down. So they are not willing to take new employee to overcome this problem. So they will be plan to reduce the amount of the employee which they are already exited in their company. So next is that they will be like some of the labor will face shame, like criticism by their own family or friends, any others, and the most part is like it is a very important part, but it is very rarely happen in Malaysia. So like when they are lost their job, they will be pushed to a situation where they will be commit in crime. So I think so. Then because they need to feed their family, they need to buy food for their family. They have a lot of commitments like car loan, house loan. So they need to think a lot of that. Then suddenly, if they are facing like this kind of problem, so they will be like there will be like a lot of stuff they will be going through in their mind. So I think so. This is all the effect like they are being facing. So thank you so much, Mr. Kadiration.
So thank you, Shashi. So like what you explained that employee lost current job. When lost current job affect economy. When affect economy, no money, then no eat lo, and then hard to find job. So it's really happened in Malaysia, right? So I'm excited to know how does layoff law affect to the labor? I give to speaker from employee again.
Alright, thank you for the question, Miss ENNLY. First of all, may I introduce myself. My name is INTAN SYUHADA NORHISHAM BINTI ABDULLAH. I am one of employee of the talent company, and I have been working here almost 3 years. So I will talk about layoff law that affect to the labor. According to understanding, layoff means a termination of employment of an employee that required by employer for certain reasons and certain periods. In other words, they will get notice first before they are getting fired. It might sound same like retrenchment, but for layoff, even the employee had to face the problems as retrenchment, but they still have time to find a new job during notice period given. Thank you.
Thank you, Intan.
Okay. Thank you, Intan, for your explanations regarding to the how does layoff affect the laborers. So, which means that the biggest difference between layoff and detachment is layoff is The biggest difference between layoff and detachment is that layoff is involuntary in nature. In layoff, employee will be recalled once they are laid off periods ends from the company. On the other hand, detachment is non-voluntary in the nature, which means the final termination for the services from the employee. So, speaker from HR department, SYAHIRAH, again I want to ask you that what is the impact of detachment and the layoff related to the labor law in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Karti, for the question. There are pros and cons about the impact of retrenchment and layoff that are related to labor law in Malaysia. But for me, I think seems to be more likely that these two issues brings out the negative impact more than the good one. Due to pandemic COVID-19, retrenchment had bring a negative impact on employers' income in numerous industries, and job cuts have become the only way to keep enterprise afloat. Therefore, retrenchment can be tough. I have seen a lot of business make mistakes over the years that end in unfair dismissal suits and occasionally very large judgment award to former employees. To be laid off mostly will lose their livelihood, and they are prone to stress because of the sudden change in their financial life and the uncertainty about their future work prospect. So I think these two issues need to be solved in the right way with a right line to obtain a positive output for the company. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, SYAHIRAH. So, what she said, there is pros and cons about the impact, and then due to this pandemic of COVID-19, bring a negative impact on employers' incomes. So, employees who had chosen by the employer to be laid off also mostly will lose their livelihood. So, I want to ask, what is the advantage and disadvantage retrenchment? I want to ask SYAHIRAH.
Yes, thank you, Miss ENNLY, for the question. Okay, advantage and disadvantage regarding the retrenchment. So, mostly the advantage are just for the organization, and just a few only will be given to the employee, I mean the labor. So first, we just without further ado, we just move to the topic. For employee, the employee will just receive a final settlement for their work experience. I mean in their company. That's all. Like a few amount of money, just like they work for 10 years, then they suddenly being fired from the company, they will just give around like 2 to 3K only, depends on their how many years work. So that's all for employee. Now we move to organization. The organization have a lot of advantage by doing this retrenchment law, because from reducing the employees, they can cut costs. Sorry, sorry. I mean they can cut costs by saving money. So by their cutting costs, they can improve the efficiency of the production. Then they no need to waste their money for giving the workers because the workers are doing nothing, because now the world are facing the global pandemic. There is no production. I mean it is very low production, so they are no need to waste their money to give them wages by doing nothing. So in the other hand, they can boost their shareholder probability and sets a plan to weather an economic crisis. Then if there is less people in the organization, so they are easy to make a decision. They are no need to ask around for any approval, and then they also the communication will be flow very easily because there is less people, so it will like move around only the people or the main department. That's all for the advantage part. Now I will move to the disadvantage. So disadvantage for employee need to give back their belongings. Before that, they will lost their current job. At first they can't work again. Then if they need to find another job, is also very hard in this kind of situation. So, and they will be given a small amount of money only. Then they need to give back their belongings, like I said earlier before, like laptops, office car, like office, like mug, something else. For organization, like they need the production will be moved slower because there is less people, because we all are human, so the human can't work 24 hours because they will get tired, so they are not machine, so the production value will be less, slow. And then the quantity of the production also will be very few. Then moreover, the company need to waste money and waste time to hire a new employee to hire to their company, because they need to set an interview, so need to give them time to like interview, and need to give them brochure or breakfast, something else like that. So this all will be a waste of money and time. So that's all for me. Thank you, ENNLY, and thank you, Mr. Kadirishan.
Thank you so much, SASHITHARAN, for your explanation regarding to the advantage and disadvantage retrenchment. As you say that we look at the advantage part, there are more advantage getting by the organizations once there are retrenchment law given to the employee. But the employee mostly affected to the disadvantages. As you say that employee will be lost their job, hard to find to another job, because now in a current situation, if a degree holder also, is not easy to get a job. So which means that already if we're having a job and suddenly we get a retrenchment law from a company, which is like we cannot find a new job is easily. So as you say that employee will be lose their job and hard to find another job in disadvantage of retrenchment. For the advantage part, the organization will can cut costs, save the money, and improve the effect of the productions. So like as you say that they no need to waste more money on wages to give the employees. Okay. Like the points you given is the facts that you telling that as the truth. So the next question I'm going to ask is what are the advantage and disadvantage in the layoff? So this question I'm going to ask another employee is INTAN SYUHADA. Can you explain regarding the advantage and disadvantage layoff?
Alright, thank you for the question, Mr. Kadir. Alright, we are going to see for the advantages first. Among the advantages is that those who are required to quit work temporarily will not have their salary deducted during the time they are not working. In other words, we are calling that as a paid leave. Furthermore, if your employer fires you or fails to pay your monthly wage, you have the right to file a notice of replacement wage claim. If an employer decides to fire an employee, the required employee must be provided a letter of notice with all of the details in line with the terms of the employee contract. Last but not least, for the advantages, each employee involved in this retrenchment, they are entitled to request reimbursement of the balance of the annual leave. Each employee will be given annual leave. So if the employee is laid off for a short period and there is still a balance of annual leave that has not been used, the employee is entitled to ask for replacement or compensation in the form of salary. So next part is for disadvantages for layoff that affect laborers. First, they might be experiencing direct cost for especially. Everybody need money nowadays to continue their life. Money is very important to us to fulfill our needs. So if this happen to them, they will face problems with financial. Next, they might hard to gain trust from new company. It is happening to people when they want to find a new job when they got notice to quit their job. It is hard for new company to trust people like this because they might think that this category was fired because of their discipline at work or about their ethics. Lastly, they will also suffer in stress. When people getting notice to quit from their job, of course they will find another new job for them to survive. But it is not easy as we thought. Nowadays, it is very hard getting jobs, so this will get them suffer in stress. Alright, I think that's all for answering the question. Thank you.
So thank you, Intan. So as you said, what I got from the main advantage layoff. So as you said, will not have the salary deduct and have the right to file notice of replacement wage claim and entitled to request reimbursement of balance of the annual leave. And the main disadvantage that I got is support stress. When stressed because of they didn't they not enough money for in life, right? So I want to ask the question for Human Resource Department. So as an employee and Human Resource Department, in your opinion, how to overcome if an unwanted problem occurs? I'd like to ask a Human Resource Department first.
Thank you, Ms. ENNLY, for the question. In my opinion, on how to overcome if an unwanted problem occurs, as we know that in some cases, an employee's problematic behavior and attitude indicates that the workers is not engaged with the job. So, as a manager can discuss this possibility with the employee, and sometimes an honest and supportive conversation will reveal that the staff is simply not in the right job. That's an unpleasant thought for some. But in many cases, a lack of engagement is not because the job and the employee are a full match. The staff may still be a good fit for the profession, but the employee may no longer see why his or her work is crucial to the organization, how it helps the company fulfill its mission, and how that mission is important to the larger work. This can happen for a few reasons, but a manager can take the initiative and talk exploratory discussion and help the employee regain perspective on their contribution and value to the organization and beyond. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatin. Syahirah, can you explain to me as your opinion how to overcome if an unwanted problem occurs?
Thank you very much to Miss ENNLY for the good question. I think, in my opinion, I did not agree with the law because during this pandemic COVID-19, many employees will be hard to find a new job, and definitely they will facing a financial problem to keep survive in their livelihood. So in conclusion, these two issues needs very must find a very good solutions so that these two party, which is the employer and the employees, can solve the problem well and get the positive output. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatin and Nur Syahirah, as your opinion. So we go, before we go to the final, we end this forum season. For employers in many industry, we know that this pandemic COVID-19 has negatively affected their revenue to significantly, and cutting jobs has become the only solution to keep business going. This had also been the case in Malaysia, where the movement control or the crippled many business. So, and the government has been unable to provide meaningful assistance to employers. I want to add my question. So, is that fair to implement this labor law during this pandemic COVID-19? How about your opinion, Shashi?
So, my opinion about implementing this law is not that very suitable during this pandemic, because retrenchment and layoff, it seems to be like same, but it is very different, because layoff, they at least will be receiving the basics when they are not working, but retrenchment is that they being just fired from the company. So as a labor, the mental situation when they are told that from their employer that they will be sacked from the office, they will be like feel very stressed and like don't know what to do, and like they will be pushed to a mental situation where like they will think about like how to find a new job, they want to feed their family, they were going to go through this situation, how like a lot of question running through their mind. So I think so it is not very suitable lah. I'm not telling that you are not right, but it is not suitable by doing retrenchment. I think so it is better to perform layoff every company, because from the past few years, I think so the private company will be earn a lot of money or profit, so at least they can support their employees. But they are not thinking about employees, but they are thinking about their self only. They want to save their own company. So I think so it is not fair enough to do like this. And otherwise, they also like use this law as a perfect opportunity to like cut their employees, because some of them are like they are pending their salary, so they will perform like this such act. So I think so better I suggest that every company should follow that, like at least stop their employee to work, but at least give them some wages or salary when they are not working. So that's all from me. Thank you for having me, Mr. Kadiration and Miss ENNLY. I'm glad to join this forum. Thank you.
Thank you to Shashi. It's look like you say it's not suitable, so it means it's not fair for employee, right? Thank you, Shashi, for your explanation. So I want to ask again for the employee, the talent company. So in your opinion, how to overcome if an unwanted problems occurs?
All right, thank you for the question, Miss ENNLY. I will give my opinion as an employee. So to overcome this problem, for the employee, I hope that you guys have to get ready in any situation because there will always something unexpected will happen in any forms. For example, like right now, the issue of COVID-19, it is giving impact to many industry and most of them have to decrease their employee. So to conclude, as employee, we have to always get ready in any situation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Intan, for your opinion. So we're going to the conclusion. To end this final forum. So I give to Katirison to conclude this forum. To close. I give to him.
Thank you everyone for your answering the questions. As a final question that you guys answers that how is fair to implement this labor law during this pandemic? Yeah, of course, from HR department and as an employee, we listen to their opinions. So now, as moderated today, as we discussed that, there are pro and cons in both sides. So, which means the retrenchment is giving from a company means the employee is doing like discipline problems, which means we should have to punish them by retrenchment law. So, there are pro and cons in both sides. As a layoff also, they are they will call back the employee. Like they give the period of time to the employee, which means they cannot work on the company. But they will call back the employee once the company will be call them. So just now, Intan also says that money is important. Yeah, the money is the important nowadays. But a job is much more important from the money because without a job, how you going to get the money? So, which means that the company's department should have to take, they should have to think that which law should have to apply during this situation. Because currently we are having the COVID-19 problem. There are many employees are suffering. Many of the company are stopped because cannot work. So during this part, this kind of the law is not the fair to apply to them. So as a conclusion, I am saying that a business relies on many aspects for its smoothing, functioning, and managing profit and losing to keep its staff and works happy and contact at the same time is a difficult part. It's difficult task. So business must take a strong, timely decision to keep it up with the good marketing. So, as I say that there are pro and cons. So, as an employee, we should don't depend on the same thing, which means only in the one job. So, alternative way that the employee should have to search another job, which means part-time works. So, which means once they get the retrenchment layoff law from the company, also they can manage to find out another work to survive. So that's from me, and thank you for joining with us, everyone. And as the employee department, SASHITHARAN and INTAN, and HR department, SYAHIRAH and INTAN SYUHADA. So thank you everyone, and have a nice day.